Okay, we're starting up here. Sorry, my Audacity just was not working. Everything is good on Zoom? Awesome. Thank you. That is good to hear. Today we are doing the song Who's That Knocking at My Door? It was, oh, yeah, just a sec. Let me get myself organized here. Welcome to Bluegrass 101. Bluegrass 101 is an opportunity to play along during these COVID days in a safe environment. And also, if you're shut in or not able to make it to our typical Wednesday nights, well, now you can do it online here. And what we do for an hour, we go into great depths of a certain song. And this week's song is Who's That Knocking at My Door? There's lots of opportunities to sing along, lots of opportunities to solo, and this is a great song to solo in. So if you've never soloed before, this is your opportunity. And you're all alone, so nobody's going to hear you make mistakes. Not that it would matter anyway. That's what music is all about, making lots and lots of mistakes. But we do it and repeat over and over again, giving you all an opportunity to sing not only the lead if you want, but also the harmonies, the baritone, and the tenor. And we'll get into that a little later. But first we have to learn the song. And the song was written by Pat Enright in the 1980s, and it was recorded with a band called the Dreadful Snakes. Pat Enright was playing with Bela Fleck. Bela had moved down to Nashville to play a little bluegrass because up in New York he was doing a lot of melodic banjo and not quite bluegrass stuff. So he wanted to get that feeling of bluegrass, so he was in a band called Spectrum. He was also in a band called Tasty Licks. And the lead singer in that band was Pat Enright. And Pat Enright, Jerry Douglas, Roland White, Blaine Sprouse on fiddle, who am I missing? Mark Hembree. Yeah, they got together and formed a band called Dreadful Snakes. And they toured very, very briefly, and they recorded one album, the Snakes Alive album by the Dreadful Snakes in 1983 or 84. Great album, phenomenal. Always, you should have it in your collection. And one of the songs that they recorded was this song, Who's That Knocking at My Door? We're going to do it in the key of F. I'm capoing 3 frets up and playing D shape. And this song has all of 2 chords in it. It has a D, F, and a C, or in relation to the capo, it's an A. So we'll do it pretty slow here, and we'll go through the song. If you're on Facebook, I do have the lyrics below, or you can Google them. There they are through Google, and the song is Who's That Knocking at My Door? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Oh, this life that I'm living, it seems so unforgiving. I find trouble everywhere I go. I always seek it first, just to quench my burning thirst in waters that are cool as falling snow. Who's that knocking at my door? Had I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Oh, I've been down that pathway that always leads the wrong way, but this time I don't think I'll be back. It's like a freight train pulling me. There's a dark tunnel ahead I see. Trains going down a one-way track. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? door. It's calling me to go in a place that's filled with dark and gloom. That's it. Really a pretty simple song. The verse and the chorus has the same melody, only two chords in it. You can play third fret, capo at the third fret and play that way, or you can actually capo at the fifth fret and play C shape. Both of those are in the key of F, but I like it in the key of D. Now let's go into some of the details of the lead, because that's kind of important if you're going to be singing the lead here. Because there is some funky things that Pat Enright does. Pat Enright has a very amazing voice. He now plays with the Nashville Bluegrass Band. Actually, right after this album, he formed the Nashville Bluegrass Band with like Compton and those guys, Pat Enright. And who's the banjo player? Can't remember. Doesn't matter. But enough rambling. So, who's that knocking? So it starts out quite low, and then it goes quite high. It does a full octave in this song, and that's actually relatively rare in bluegrass. Bluegrass usually typically parks about 4 or 5 notes, doesn't go the full 8 or of an octave. So if you're singing this song, you have to find the right key to sing this song in. If it's a little too low, you're going to have trouble with those low notes. Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that? You'll be doing who's that? You'll be doing that. If it's too high, who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard? You'll be like heard, and not quite hitting that note. So you might have to do it in the key of E. You might have to do it which is lower, or even down to G. That's quite a bit lower. You might have to do it higher. You might have to do it instead of the key of F. You might have to, sorry, G is higher. You might have to do the key of G. You might have to do even the key of A. Like, who's that knocking at my door? Haven't heard that knock before. It's evil trying to get into my room. That would be too high for me, but might be the right key for you. And the person who sings gets to choose what key the song is in. Doesn't matter if it's a key that the banjo player, the mandolin, or the fiddle, or the guitar player doesn't like playing in. Too bad. It's the voice that is the most important thing. So let's get, sorry, just want to make sure that this is reloading properly. I'll just cancel, whatever. Okay, so let's go through it. Yeah, who's that knocking at my door? So he shortens door quite a bit. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? On before, he's doing 3 notes there. Have I heard that knock before? Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Now this song has a little bit of a bluesy feel to it. So the my in that, is it evil trying to get into my room, is slightly flattened. Is it evil trying to get into my room? If it was purely the proper note that you would be singing, he would go, is it evil trying to get into my room? Is it evil trying to get into my room? But he's not doing that. He's going, is it evil trying to get into my room? So it's very, very subtle, but it's very, very important because, sorry, I'm just getting into my Facebook account here because I'm getting people that are commenting and I'm not sure if I'm getting all the comments. There we go. Okay. Alan O'Brien on banjo. Thank you, Greg Yavorski. That's right. I don't know why I blanked on that. Okay, so yeah, that's who plays in the Nashville Bluegrass Band with Pat Enright. Okay, so who's that tapping at my window? Who's that tapping at my window? So this is a really, really subtle thing, but it adds so much to the song. He does a weird syncopation pattern on window. Who's that tapping at my window? So he's typically in bluegrass, you're singing ahead of the beat. You're not going, who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go? So when that beat is boom, boom, bum, boom, who's that tapping at my window? I'm singing slightly behind the beat. That's done in blues. A lot of country music it's done. In rockabilly and bluegrass, you're singing ahead of the beat. Who's that tapping at my... But on window, he shifts it. He shifts those notes to behind the beat. Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? So again, end on that. To a place that's filled with dark and gloom. That and is flattened a little bit. And go. So calling me to go. 3 notes. It's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom. So let's go through that really slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Now on gloom, he holds it quite a bit. And you don't want to hit that M. You don't want to be going, place that's filled with dark and gloom. You want to hit the O. To a place that's filled with dark and gloom. Oh, this life that I'm living. Now, for the notes in the chorus, it is very, very straightforward. Who's that knocking at my door? You don't want to be going, who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? So you don't want to be scooping all over because we have to add harmony to that. And if you scoop into a note, then your 2 other people that are trying to sing harmony with you are trying to scoop it in as well. So almost like a piano. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Okay, now when it gets to the verse, you can play around all you want because you're the only one that's singing. Oh, this life that I'm living, it seems so unforgiving. I find trouble everywhere that I go. I always seek it first, just to quench my burning thirst in waters that are cool as falling snow. So I'm doing like, cool as falling snow. So I'm flattening it and then slowly scooping it up. Waters that are cool as falling snow. But once I get to the chorus, who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? So now that we kind of have an idea of how the rhythm goes and how the melody goes and how the chords go, let's do the song and we'll add breaks into it. So the breaks are, the verse or the chorus, because they're the same. Okay, so let's go through. We'll do it relatively slow and sing along. I want to hear you. Be loud. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Oh, this life that I'm living, it seems so unforgiving. I find trouble everywhere that I go. I always seek it first, just to quench my burning thirst in waters that are cool as falling snow. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Tapping at my window. Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? So deep, what you sow you must reap, and now I hear it knocking at my door. It's evil standing outside, there's no place to run and hide. It plucks my soul and presses me to the floor. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? I've been down that pathway that always leads the wrong way, but this time I don't think I'll be back. It's like a freight train pulling me, there's a dark tunnel ahead I see. The train is going down a one-way track. Who's that knocking at my window? Who's calling me to go to Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Knocking at my door. Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Is that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? So that's the full song. I sped up a lot, and I apologize for that. If you do have any questions, feel free to post a comment, whether it's on Facebook or Zoom. If I'm singing, I'll probably get back to you after I finish whatever I'm singing. but I will definitely try to answer as best I can. Okay, so we have the lead. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? So if we know those notes, then we can figure out where the tenor is. Now, the tenor in bluegrass is typically the third note, sometimes the fourth, above the lead. So if I'm starting on this note, well, the next note in the chord is this one. Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard? So because I'm going up to this note, the harmony, who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? So now, as the lead does this big jump, all the harmony has to do that same jump. Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking? Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Let's do that again. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? It is quite high and quite low. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? So, with my handy-dandy program of Audacity, I'm going to record the lead so that you can hear the harmony to it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, just wait. I have this as a built-in microphone. I don't want that. I want it to be that. Oh, I finally remembered. Okay. One more time. 1, 2, 3. The lead. 4. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Now, because this song jumps so much, it is really easy to lose track of what note you're on and start singing the lead or the baritone or the tenor. So what we're going to do is do our best here. So I start on this note. If I'm singing the tenor, who's that knock? Who's that knocking? Who's that knocking? Who? Okay. 2, 3, the lead. 4. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? I'm singing the wrong. place that's filled with dark and gloom. Let's see if I got that right. Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? I'm on the wrong note. Place that's filled with, place that's filled, place that's filled, place that's filled. Oh, I have to be there. Place that's filled with dark and gloom. It's higher than I thought. Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Try that again. Apologies. Calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom. Place that's filled with dark and gloom. Is that what I was doing? Maybe not. Place that's filled with dark and gloom. To a place that's filled with dark and gloom. There we go. Got it. Got it. Okay. So because of that, let's record that harmony to it. I have to add a new track. I have to expand this out. This is always the fun part. It's not at all. But 1, 2, 3, believe. 4. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that knocking at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? I can do that better. I want to get it better because I'm going to be playing the baritone to it, and I want to get it somewhat correct here. Apologies. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, believe. 4. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Okay, so in a D chord, if this note is taken and this note is taken, then the baritone is who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? It is very low. Who's that knocking at my door? I heard, who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? So if that is what we are singing, let's see if I can get it to line up properly. Believe. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Okay, so let's see if I can do who's that knock? Who? There's your starting note. 1, 2, 3, believe. Who's that knocking at my door?
Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom?
So those are the 3 parts.
Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom?
So what we are going to do is provide people with the opportunity to sing the lead now without me mecking up the lead for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down a guitar here, and I am not going to sing. We are going to do an intro to this as well. I will give you a little bit of a hint as to when this song comes in. So I'll be like, oh, this life. Oh, this life. And then you have to sing. Okay, so let's get all of you out there singing the lead, hopefully in the key of F that you can. And I'm going to sing the harmony to it on the choruses, and then leave the verses alone, and we're adding breaks, and we're doing an intro. So 1, and if you're playing guitar, you're playing mandolin, you're playing banjo, I want to hear that back beat. The emphasis beat is on beats 2 and 4, so it's boom, chick, chick, boom, chick. Okay, not quite that fast, but it might end up that fast. We'll see. I don't have my bass player who makes sure that I play on time, so apologies. And I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Because I'm singing the tenor and it is a little too high for me, but that's fine. 1, 2, 3, intro.
At my door, heard that knock before. Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom?
Solo.
But the wall
solo. Solo. Final chorus.
Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that filled with dark and gloom?
Okay, so there is the tenor, but you can't have a tenor without the harmony. So Bela Fleck was the banjo player, and he did something on banjo that was really cool. Bela does typically all of these like phenomenal banjo rolls and stuff like this, but on this song he kept it really like he was probably more in tune. He probably tuned up and stuff just to show off. I swear. Tuner, the battery is dead. Okay, let's tune to the guitar. I did tune ahead of time. It's just there we go. So he kept it very, very low. He kept it very, very simple. We're going to add the baritone to this and a banjo. So get ready to sing along again. And remember, there's an intro, and I will take one of the breaks, probably the very last break. We'll see. I'm going to add a new track, stereo track. Blaine Sprouse does a phenomenal fiddle kick on this. If I wish I had a fiddle, but I don't. And I cannot play fiddle. Don't ask me. Okay. 1, 2, 3, intro.
that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? At my door, ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? At my door, ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? At my door, ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? At my door, ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom?
A little bit more about Bela Fleck's banjo on this. Typically, what you want to do is, if the mandolin is taking a break, you pick up this, and then when the fiddle player is taking a break, you can do these rolls. If there's a dobro player, when he takes a break, you might want to back off completely because the mandolin is going to do chuck. And if you do a roll over top of a dobro, it's going to mess this up. Now, in this song, in dobro, Bela Fleck backs off quite a bit. But when the mandolin takes a break, because the banjo is doing this F and definitely this low, he just does this constant roll throughout the entire song behind the mandolin too, because the mandolin, typically the banjo can kind of, it's in the same register as the mandolin sometimes, so it can get a little muddy. But because the banjo is doing these really, really low F type rolls, he plays over top of the mandolin soloing, so it works out fine. Don't do that all the time, but in this song, if you're a banjo player, feel free to do that roll throughout the whole song, because it kind of adds a really nice touch to it. Let's see. 2, 3, intro. I just want to touch a hair off that, because what I'm going to do now is I am going to provide the lead just for my funness. 2, 3. So I'm going to add the lead. I'm going to play mandolin. I have been working on mandolin a little bit. And because this song is only 2 chords, I do have a little bit more time here. So, so it's actually relatively easy to do this melody, because it's just... there's not a whole lot of notes to it, and because it keeps repeating, okay, so let's do the lead, and I'll add a mandolin solo in here and see how close I got into the harmonies and if it fits on all together. 1, 2, 3, intro.
Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Who's climbing? It seems so unforgiving. I find trouble everywhere that I go. I always seek it first, just to quench my burning thirst in waters that are cool as falling snow. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that knocking at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? But now I hear a knocking at my door. It's evil standing outside. There's no place to run and hide. It plucks my soul and presses me to the floor. Who's that knocking at my door? Have I heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Oh, I've been down that pathway that always leads the wrong way, but this time I don't think I'll be back. It's like a freight train pulling me. There's a dark tunnel ahead I see. The train is going down a one-way track. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom? Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom?
Yeah, so that is Who's That Knocking at My Door. I only did it in the key of F. Definitely this song, it's really, really important. Like if I was to sing this song for reals, let's see. If I drop it down to E, who's that knocking at my door? Who? I can't hit that note very well. Who's that knocking at my door? And that is only a half step below F. If I go to F, who's that knocking at my door? Who? I can hit that note a lot more pure. If I was to go to G, who's that knocking at my door? Now that part is okay. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? That is starting to get a little off. So honestly, F is the best key for me in singing this song. Let's go back to F. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Forgot I was doing that. So F is the right key for me, but for you, play around, change the key, do it in like C. Who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that knock before? Is it evil trying to get into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? And if you're a female, who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go? I can't hit that. It's filled with dark and gloom. This key might very well be the key for you to sing it in. Might be C, might be D, might be B. If I did B, who's that knocking at my door? Ever heard that
into my room? Who's that tapping at my window? Who's calling me to go to a place that's filled with dark and gloom?
Obviously way too high for me, but as higher, if you have a higher voice, if you have a Jamie Daly type voice, or you're female with a higher pitched voice, that might be the key for you. Or F may very well be the key. And then, of course, singing harmony, you might have to adjust slightly so that the person singing harmony is able to sing along with you. But this is a great song. It's only two keys, or two chords. And it is a real fun song to play. It has a real nice groove to it, and it is a nice one to have in your repertoire. I hope you enjoyed Bluegrass 101. Thanks to everybody that tuned in, and hope you got something out of it. Every Wednesday, I am here on Facebook and on Zoom. So, and of course, if you have any questions, feel free to post a comment on Facebook, or you can email me at Darcy, DARCYW, @gmail.com. And I'll do my best to answer you. And I do post this on Facebook as well, or on YouTube as well. And all the past ones are on YouTube. Search the Bix Mix Boys for the channel, and it has all of these. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into Bluegrass 101. Hope you got something out of it, and hope this COVID ends soon so that we can all play along together. Safe picking, clean picking, and keep your hands clean and stay safe out there. I'm missing y'all. Okay. And bye.